So, welcome everybody to the college prep and what to expect. I know going into from high school students going into college or applying for colleges, scholarships, transcripts, it's all kind of a big blur. And parents is kind of a big blur for us as well. I do remember going through all of this with my two and thought, somebody just somebody do this for me. It's a full-time job. So I created this so that we can kind of go through it, hopefully help you with some tips and tricks to move in a little easier so it doesn't seem quite as overwhelming. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so we'll start from square one. Where to start, what to expect. So big picture roadmap. Uh, One of the things you want to start doing early when they go from middle school to high school is start kind of building a track record. So, if you will, you're gonna obviously you want good grades, activities, any clubs that you can get involved in, sports you can get involved in. Community service is huge, and you want to start tracking those. Any leadership, honor roll, things of that nature that you want to go ahead and add to a resume, if you will. You're going to want to start tracking that. Um, so organize your basics, your accounts, make sure you have deadlines in place. As a Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet is great for this. And then tell your stories, essays, applications, interviews, and then FAFSA scholarships, grants, and smart loans, what all of that means. So we'll go through that here shortly. So ninth to 10th grade, this is some of the things you want to go ahead and look at doing. Again, explore your interests, join groups, join clubs, track your hours of service. My kids both did service at St. Vincent de Paul and they track those hours. And they ask that on your application for the colleges. How much community service did you do? And what was it? So make sure you have those tracked and make sure that you have really great study habits. They want to see that. If it comes between you and somebody else and that other person, if they're going to give a scholarship out and that other person doesn't have any community service hours and you do, guess who's getting the scholarship? You will. So make sure you keep those tracked. 11th grade, you're going to create a college list. Visit campuses, ask for recommendations, start your scholarship search, and draft an essay. I know a lot of you don't like the AI stuff. I had my son use ChatGPT really quick because he was slammed. And so what we did was go ahead and say name, age, classes he took, GPA, services he was in, sports he was in, things he liked to do, what he was hoping to accomplish when he was done with college classes, where he wanted to see the direction of his life go, and what type of career he wanted to have. So, what ChatGPT did is it spit out this essay on my son, but your essays for colleges are going to be pretty specific. So what that helped him do was be able to take chunks of that essay and get another essay started in his head. So he would take chunks of this is what I want to do moving forward as my future career, and then he could take that, break it down, and then he could write his own essay on it. It's really that essay for ChatGPT was just a starting point that he could grab, take away from it, and then really get going on an essay that was phenomenal. I would also say have somebody proofread that essay before sending that in. And when you're looking at these scholarships and these essays, pay attention to the directions. Some of these essays that these scholarships want, they want them handwritten. And if you're not paying attention to that and you type it and send it, it's an automatic decline. They won't give it to you. So make sure you're reading the directions as you go through this because you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly so that you have the opportunity to potentially get the scholarship. Visit campuses, you guys. It's huge. My son and I went to Western Colorado University. He was hands down, that is where I'm going to go. And we got there and he went, no way. He goes, this is not me. Now, had we not visited the campus, because he had been approved, he was ready to go, we had put the deposit down on the housing. Had he got there when he was just moving in and not seeing the campus, I would have made him go the whole year because we already paid everything. And he went, oh, no way. So we canceled everything, got our money back. But you guys visit these campuses, make sure they're a good fit for you. Make sure that the city or the town that you're going to be in is a good fit for you. My other son put a stop to all these other colleges that were cold. He didn't like cold weather. So he was like, okay, top northern part of the United States is out. So, so start looking at things like that. And the other thing I'm going to tell you too is if you're not sure at all about what you want to do, go to a community college. It sounds weird, but you're going to save so much money and you're still doing the prereqs. So, kind of consider that as well. Summer before your 12th grade, create accounts, finish your personal essay, build your resume, request transcripts, prep FAFSA info, and then your 12th grade year apply early, file for FAFSA. FAFSA used to be October 1st, now it's December 1st is when they open that up, unless you're already in a college, and then they typically open that up a little earlier. So you want to again pay attention to that. Submit scholarships, compare 8 offers, and then make your final choice. So we'll go over all of this as we cruise through this. Deadlines, treat them like they're final. You guys, if you miss a deadline, you're out. A lot of these colleges are not going to give you a second chance to go ahead and redo something. So make sure you're very aware on those deadlines. Like I said, Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets is a fantastic way to go and highlight those deadlines. You can actually go to the top of the sheets, the top of the column, click it and say organize by date, and it'll put it in date order for you. So make sure you know what that is. But this rule right here, missed deadline is a missed opportunity. It's true. If you don't hit it on that deadline, very few colleges will give you an extension on much of anything. So college applications, commonapp.com is fabulous, you guys. It's fabulous. So again, we'll go through that as well. But commonapp.com, as we go through here, there will be links that you can copy or paste or see. But commonapp.com is phenomenal. So when you apply for a college, you have to go in and put your GPA, um, your weighted GPA, what your position is, if you're like number 97th out of 200 students, if you're 101 out of 500 students, they want to know your place and your ranking in school. They want your essay. They want to know what your goals are. They want to know all your activities, sports, groups, community service, letters of recommendations. You guys, you're going to need at least 3 that are not family. So all of these things you're going to want, and you upload it into one spot in commonapp.com. Then you pick the colleges that you want and you hit submit. So it's great. You can add these colleges, upload everything one time instead of 20 different times, and it will submit it for you. You may have to go into each school and ask, I think it's like 3 or 4 questions you might have to answer. But for the most part, everything is in commonapp.com and you just hit submit and it's a done deal. So commonapp.com saves you a ton of time. There will be a link on that in here. We'll go through official transcripts as well. Your college wants official transcripts. They're not going to take one that you can just print off and send to them. And you can go to Parchment and have that done. You can say from Crater to whichever college it is, and it's typically free if it's going to go from a high school to a college. But if you're one of those high school students that's taking college classes, they'll charge you $7 to $10 to have that official transcript sent from whichever college you're taking the courses from and send it to the college you're applying at. But even still, it gets there. It's electronic transfer. It gets there in 2 seconds. Let's see. FAFSA, why it matters. Couple little tricks with FAFSA. Parents, this one's for you. You are going to need to get a FAFSA ID. And the reason for that is because you will need to sign off. Once FAFSA is done and you go to submit it, a parent is going to need to sign that. And so you have to have an ID in order for that to get signed and done. If you don't have an ID, it's not going to get submitted. So what FAFSA does is when you submit that, that in turn triggers the school that they are looking at. Hey, we can give this much out in scholarships based off of X, Y, and Z, how much you make a year, how much financial aid you're going to need. Those schools can then give you the scholarship based off of the financial need from FAFSA. If you don't fill it out, schools don't give you scholarships. So that's your first and foremost, you need to do it. And you need to do it every year. So again, put that on your spreadsheet because your FAFSA ID is always going to remain the same. So like my firstborn, my oldest, went to college. I had a FAFSA ID. It's my ID is the same for him and for my youngest. So I put it on a spreadsheet so I wouldn't lose it. Um, but yeah, so, and they all award their own grants and scholarships in different aid, but it is based off of the FAFSA. So make sure you get that done. Down here, right here is your official sites and how you create your FAFSA ID. So make sure you save those. And those are great links if you want to bookmark those. All right, parent FAFSA and docs. So again, you're going to want social security numbers, birth dates, names, tax information. They can pull your taxes automatically. If you give them permission, they say, "Can we pull your taxes?" You say yes, and it'll pull your taxes right on up, which makes that whole thing easier. It used to be that you had to put it in manually, but it's not that way anymore. So they can go ahead and upload that pretty quickly, which is nice because once that's in and you put the schools of your choice in there, then it will calculate the aid that you're going to need and it will automatically send the final product, basically the that you submitted. It will get submitted to those schools that you have picked. You can go in and edit that if you want to add a school later. You can go in and edit that and add the school and hit resubmit and it will submit it to that school. Um, but yeah, and then each contributor completes and signs their own section. So for instance, our youngest signed for FAFSA and his dad and I had to sign, so we both had our own FAFSA IDs. And then I got an email as a contributor. I had to sign it. My husband got one as a contributor. He had to sign it, and then it was able to be submitted. Now, had one of us not signed, it doesn't get submitted. So you both need your IDs and you both need to watch out for those emails that come through. Okay, so high school transcripts. Down here is that website for Parchment that I was telling you about. Go ahead and create an account for your student and make sure that you can kind of get used to it. You can do several orders on there. So, for instance, our youngest took college classes in high school. And so, not only did I request the high school transcript, the official transcript, I requested one from SOU, from Klamath, and then one from RCC. And they were all transferred to the school that he goes to now. Um, like I told you earlier, the ones that come from the college, transfer from college to college, you're going to go ahead and get a small fee, typically anywhere between $7 to $10. If it's high school to college, it was a zero fee. But you're going to want this, you're going to want to keep this, the parchment.com, keep that as a bookmark because every year you're going to need to do that. Um, Especially if your student decides they went to, let's say they went to SOU the first year and then the second year they're like, I want to go to NAU and now you need to retransfer everything over. It's also a big help when you are applying for colleges because that is one thing that every college that you apply to, they want to see a transcript. So this makes it super easy. You can sit down and in 5 minutes you have this original transcript sent to all of these colleges that your teen has applied to, and it makes it so easy. And you have a record. You can go in and see where they were transferred, which colleges they were transferred to, when they were transferred, and if they were opened or not. So it makes it super easy for you guys. Recommendation letters, this is huge, huge, huge. And I would tell you start on this earlier because a lot of people don't. They don't do this at all. And then the college goes, well, do you have any letters of recommendation? And it takes a while to get these from your peers, for your teachers, any of the people that you're doing community service work for. And so when you look at colleges, what you're going to want to do is ask somebody at the college, what kind of information do you want on the letter of recommendation? Because they can be pretty specific. Um, so you can talk about my work ethic, my growth, my leadership skills, um, any of that, how I would be able to help move forward, what my future looks like, my determination to have this as a career, why I should get the scholarship, why I should get in accepted into this college. So recommendation letters are huge, and I would tell you get three, at least get three. And then again, sometimes you can ask or online, if you look at the colleges online, they will be pretty specific with what they want on those letters of recommendations. So take a look at those. But I would tell you, you can start on those in their junior year of high school and then have those and save on your desktop or in the cloud or wherever you want a folder that says, your teen's name and college items. And you just start putting things together a little at a time so that when you're ready, you just go in, drag and drop into where it needs to go. Community service and activities that tip the scale. I will tell you what, you guys, my kids were the scale tipped with them because both of them had about 170 hours of community service over the course of the 4 years that they were in high school. And that helped out quite a bit. So schools and scholarships often look for character, leadership, follow up, follow through, contributions, who they helped. If they could basically put themselves in somebody else's shoes and take care of somebody else first before them and keep up with grades, schoolwork, homework, um, all the like track, baseball, football, ballet, whatever, all the extracurricular, they want to make sure that they can do it all. So again, keep records of it, start a spreadsheet, keep records of it. And then what I did with my youngest was every time a transcript got finished, a semester was finished and that transcript was there, I just downloaded the basic one, not the original, but the basic, and put it in a file so that when he went to go put things in for a scholarship, he had all that information available. So again, depth matters. They would like at least 40 hours of responsibility per person for like a community service. That's at least. And so they really want to make sure that you're well involved in this. And they are honing in more on the dates that you do this. So if you say, oh yeah, I think I have about 30 hours in, well, when did you do it? Yeah, I don't know, sometime between my freshman and sophomore year. If you don't have dates on that, they almost they kick it out. So make sure you put the dates down on that. Essays. Like I said, not a lot of people like the Chat GPT. It's not necessarily that I wanted my son to use Chat GPT to write the essay. It was more along the lines of like, this is everything about me, put it in essay form, and I can grab a piece of it and then write another essay from it. Your essays are going to be all over the place. So I would say get one that's really about you and your specifics because you're going to have some, like there was a scholarship that said, I need an essay on you as a person and I need an essay on Americanism, your thoughts on Americanism. And it has to be handwritten in black ink and then mailed in. So there was nothing electronic about it. They wanted to know what his penmanship looked like. They wanted to know if you could follow instructions, all of that. And honestly, the lady when Grant talked to her said, we just wanted to know if you could, address an envelope. And it sounds weird, but we're not really taught that much anymore, how to do that. And so it was all these things put together, following instructions, making sure that those essays were done, and then making sure you could address an envelope to get it to the right person. They just want to make sure that you're willing to follow through. But these essays are big. And so start them early on. And then when you go in to look for these colleges, look and see what these questions are that they want you to answer in essays. And that's why I say if you're going to do this, Chat GPT is a big help because it kind of gets your brain started where you can grab a chunk and then finish out that essay for yourself. Do not have ChatGPT write that essay for you. Do not. You want it original. You want it you. You want your thoughts on it. You want your opinions on it. You want the outcome to be real and you. So don't have ChatGPT write it for you, but it's meant to use it just as to grab a quick little tool for you to grab and then finish out that essay for you. But you will need an essay, at least one. So when to start looking? You can start looking, honestly, the end of your sophomore year, you can start looking at these. Here are some places to look. Over here, you can click on these. They've got the links in them. There are a lot of local scholarships as well. You can go into these places and find local scholarships. You can type in, so I'm in Central Point. You can type in Jackson County, Oregon, local scholarships. A lot of your lending companies will have them. Kiwanis will have them. We have what we call a Creator Foundation that has it. We have a lot of businesses that donate to that. And so that's a main hub for the creator piece for Central Point. Um, yeah, and do the small ones, you guys. A lot of people go for these massive ones, 10, 15,000, 5,000, and they're like, oh, I didn't get any. But those $500 ones, $100 ones add up to a lot. Those will buy a book. So make sure you're looking at all of them and, apply for all of them. There are some that you'll see, I'm trying to think, Scholarship Owl, and a few others. They charge you to look for the scholarships. And I'm not going to say that they're kind of a fake thing. You can apply for them. Very rarely do you get picked for them, but you are paying money to use them. So be really careful on those when you take a look at those. Okay. So here's your difference. You guys, a lot of people will go, I want to go to a D1 school. Okay. That's not a problem. You have a D1, D2, D3, and NAIA. So this is where your scholarships are going. If you're a D3, they cannot give you a scholarship for sports. So it's going to be strictly academics, community service, and how you choose to grow and what area you choose to grow. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that your scholarships there's a limit to how many scholarships your school can give out. So, for instance, if you want to go to a D1 college and you want to run, okay, well, what are your times? Because sometimes a D1 college is only allowed to give out 10, let's say, full ride scholarships to runners, and they have over 300 that apply. So, what are the likelihood that you're going to get a full ride? You have got to be top notch to do that. So, what other scholarships are you looking at? Same thing, D2, competitive, a little more balance. You can use sports and athletics, or sports and athletics, sports and grades to go ahead and get those scholarships. D1s will typically go more sports, heavier on sports than grades. D2 is a little bit more, it's got both in there. D3 is your grades mostly. NAIA is typically smaller. They do have athletic scholarships, but they don't have as many. So, just a quick thing for you to understand, this is kind of the breakdown of them, but I also want you to understand that D1 and D2 can give you the athletic scholarships, however, they are limited. So, you want your um, circle, if you will, to be broader than just sports. You want it a full encompass of what you do to the community, what kind of things you're involved in, church, sports, community service, extracurricular activities, all the things, work, if you have jobs, that type of thing. So put it all down there. Down here are the links to what the eligibility center is, the breakdowns, and the NAIA eligibility center. So you can click on those and have more information for yourself. And then build a smart college list. It is really funny. There are some students that I've talked with and done internships with that are like, they've got 20 colleges picked out. And they're like, I'm going to apply to all of them. And that's great. Break it down a little bit more. Again, between probably 5 to 10, 6 to 10 schools, and then really get picky with what you want in it. I want warmer weather. I want a smaller class size. I want something that's, in biology or fashion design or known for, cultures, things like that. You want to get really specific with that because to apply to scholarships or to schools, sometimes it's $35 for an application, sometimes it's $65 for an application. And if you're applying for 20 of them, that gets pretty expensive really fast. And more than likely, if you've got great grades and you're a good athlete and you're into everything, you're going to get accepted to all of them. So it doesn't necessarily make your choice of a college any easier if you're going to get accepted to them. You just spent all this money. So hone in on it a little bit more. What is important to you with going to a college? What do you want out of it? Because you can eliminate probably a good chunk more of schools if you get really detailed with what you want. Visit, like I said, visit when possible. That's huge. A lot of these campuses, you can go to their websites, they will have a virtual tour, which is nice. I will also tell you the campuses look amazing online. And even when you visit them, visit the town, visit the city. What is there for you to do outside of the college? If that's something that is great and there's lots of stuff for you to do, and you can go to the beach or you can go shopping or you can go see a movie or a play or you can go hiking, biking if you just want the smaller feel. You need that in a town. If you get there and there is zero to do outside the college, you're going to be bored out of your mind. So make sure that that town or city is also a good fit for you with that college. I'm going to go back up to this one too. Make sure that you're not going to the college based off of friends. I know that sounds weird, but if your friends left, would you be able to still enjoy the college scene there? So make sure it's something that you want and then go, oh, that'd be great if my friends went here. But is this something that you could handle if they decided not to go there? Money conversation. This is huge, you guys. I know that, so for instance, my parents, my husband's parents, they didn't talk about money. That was not something that was anybody's business. You guys, you have to talk about money with us for your team. They have to understand what this looks like, not just the costs of the school and the scholarships, but what you may be having to put forth to help them get into school or what these student loans look like. You guys, they're old enough now. They need to be knowing about all of this. You need to sit down with them and go over a budget, go over what this looks like, start bringing them into the world of adulthood. This is something they're going to have to do, especially if they're taking out the student loans that they are going to have to be paying back at a certain time. They need to know about all of this. Here's the thing that a lot of parents don't understand, tuition and fees. Oh, that looks great. It's only, 25,000. That's awesome. Okay, room and board is not part of your tuition and fees. So when you have tuition and fees and room and board and now it's 50,000, that's what you're looking at. So make sure you read everything on what that looks like. Um, so in books, I will tell you, don't go buy your books right away. Almost wait till your first week of school is done to go buy your books because a lot of the books can be found online that you can download for free. Or some of your professors go, we don't use the books. And you would hate to spend a few $100s in books if you didn't need to, when that money could have gone towards more of the classes and less money out of your pocket. So I would say wait till the first week of classes is done in order for you to buy books. You will know at that point in time if you're going to use them or not. Um, ah, Work, study, or campus jobs. Those are really great, you guys, because you can go to work and they'll either give you an option of, hey, we'll give you a paycheck or we're just going to knock it off your tuition. If you have the time, typically your first year, you don't. Um, it's a little crazy your first year. Schools are typically trying to weed out people the first year. So they're going to give you a huge stack of classes that are going to drive you bonkers, and there's no way you're going to have time for a job. But your second year, that kind of gets a little easier. They've weeded out the people that are not going to be there, and you could probably look at getting a job. And it's I want to say most of them are 4 to 6 hours a week, but that pay goes to your tuition, so it helps knock off some tuition, and it can be up to $4,500, $6,000 off of your tuition, which is huge. So I would say take a peek at that. Um, Let me see. Loans. Know the amount, the interest, the payment, and who is responsible. There's a lot of different loans, you guys. There's federal Stafford loans, there's subsidized and unsubsidized. You're going to want to read those. There's Sally Mae, there's what's the other one? I was saying Ginny. I can't remember the other one. Anyway, there's a lot of different loans out there. Some of them require that you pay them back right away. You start on those monthly payments, and others of them will go ahead and wait until you've graduated in order for you to go ahead and pay those back. Some of them, if it's, let's say, like a federal Stafford loan that your student accepts, parents, you cannot do your taxes and not have them as a dependent. You have to keep them as a dependent as long as they have those loans. So read the small print, make sure you understand it, make sure you understand when those loans are going to be required to be paid back and what the interest rates are on them. So, and you can compare a lot of them. So it's really good for you to go ahead and have those in front of you to make that choice. And don't just go, oh, we're just going to do this loan, private loans. I'm just tired, just do it. Some of those private loans are expensive, you guys. Some of those private loans are like a 10% interest rate. Whereas like a federal Stafford loan is like 3% or 2%. So take a look at what those interest rates are and do some homework, which is why I'm saying start looking early. That way you're better prepared when it's ready to go ahead and sign on for those. A weekly family system. This is great, you guys. Pick a day just to kind of go through the list of things that need to get done, what you have done, who's doing what, check in, all of the things. Because when you get to this point, it is overwhelming. You're like, did we get the essay done? Did we turn this in? Did we, oh, you accepted this? Great. Well, did we go ahead and apply for these scholarships? Did we turn in the housing money? Did we, it all starts to become overwhelming and it starts to run together and you forget what you've done. So again, spreadsheets are awesome where you put that list down, you put who has what to do, and you put a check mark if it's done. And if you can put the date that it's done, that way you can kind of compare and say when it was finished and to know if you've made it up to those deadlines, before those deadlines, what that looks like. Again, review the deadlines. Deadlines are huge. If you miss them, you're not going to get a second chance. They typically do not give you an extension. Um, your colleges, however, when you do, colleges are really nice in the fact that when you apply for their scholarships, you do a one and done. You basically fill out everything that you have, hit submit, and it will put your name in there for all of the scholarships that that school offers, which some of them can be in the thousands of scholarships. Not money, but like that many scholarships. So double check that you have that as well. So here's a quick look at what an application packet may look like. You're going to need grades, activities, service work, awards, your essay. It's got to be a strong essay. Typically, if you're going to do commonapp.com, they want an essay about you and what you're looking to do with your future and why you feel you should get accepted into college and the scholarships. So make it strong, make it good. Three recommendation letters, teachers, coach, mentor, neighbor, boss. and make sure you get those. They typically like them on letterhead, and they typically like the person to type their name and then sign it with an email and phone number so that they could potentially contact that person. FAFSA login completed for students and parents. I would bookmark these so that they're easy to get to. I would almost start a new Gmail account. Sounds weird, but if you did collegeapp@gmail.com, you can then go ahead and put everything in those Google Sheets in that specific Google account. Your login, you can bookmark that. It can be specifically just for colleges, and you can bookmark everything underneath that Gmail account. And then scholarship tracker, your deadlines, your essay prompts, anything that's submitted, when it was submitted, who did it. Again, we go back to that list about check marks, who did what, when did they do it, and make sure it all got done. And then the weekly check-in, just make sure you're on top of things. You got accepted. Whoop, whoop. Now what? So you can get accepted to all the schools you apply to, which could be multiple ones. Then you have to go back and say, okay, let's look at cost. Let's look at the scholarships they're going to give me. Let's look at the careers that they have versus what I want. And then let's look at the location, the town, and make sure this is someplace I really want to be. So you can dwindle that down and then say, okay, this is really kind of where I'm at. The other thing too with these schools, once you get accepted, most of them will go ahead and send you a letter that says, hey, we'll give you this much in scholarship money. You can negotiate with those. You can take that, let's say you apply at University of Montana and you end up with University of San Diego, and San Diego is going to give you 5,000, Montana is going to give you 10. You can say, I would love to go there. Can you meet Montana's scholarship amount of 10,000? And they can say yes or no. But you can use that as a negotiating tool to up the scholarship. You can also, if you're going for sports or if you're going for a specific niche um, career, you can ask that financial advisor at that school, hey, I need a little bit more in scholarship funds. Can you help me out? Can you find anything else for me? And they can say yes or no to that. But it's always a no if you don't ask. So ask. That's the other thing. When you get accepted into a school, you're going to start getting portal information and, oh, you're going to sign up for your portal. Here's your username and password. This is what you need to set up. I would create folders on the side saying, NAU, and all the emails from NAU go into that folder. San Diego, same thing. That way you can open them all up and not get confused as to which one goes to what, and you won't lose anything. And your schools, this one's a big one. Do not assume the school's going to remind you of everything. They won't. So that's what those emails are for. If you miss it, they might send out a couple reminders, but if you miss it, you miss it. So you want to make sure that you see everything there. So parent and student action checklist, make sure that you activate your accounts, the portals, the school emails. That goes for parents too. They're going to send things to you as well. Review your next steps. There will be a housing deposit that you will need to put down. If you say you get accepted to 6 schools and you have 3 schools that you really want to go to and you put a housing deposit on all 3, that's fine. But by May 1st, you have to have a yes or no to the school you're going to in order to get that money back. So if you have NAU, Montana State, and San Diego, and your teen decides to pick San Diego, you'd better get back to NAU and Montana State before May 1st and say, hey, we're going to cancel our housing on that. We've decided to go to a different school. And I would tell you, put it in writing, put everything in writing, because sometimes it gets missed and it goes into spam and then they go, oh, we never got that. And if you can prove that you, excuse me, sent it before the May 1st deadline, you can get that money back. But yeah, don't assume that they're always going to remind you of things. Check your aid offer. Check all of your grants, your scholarships, loans, your work studies. There will be, so for instance, my youngest goes to George Fox. There is a section in his portal. He has to go in and he has to accept these scholarships and grants. If he doesn't accept them, he doesn't get them. And they're sitting there waiting for him, but he has to be the responsible adult to go in and say, accept, 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 accept. If he doesn't get the money. And then complete the requirements. Immunizations are huge. They want a record of that. Placement tests. If your school does not require ACT or SATs, then they're probably going to require a placement test to see where they put you to start off. So your SATs and your ACTs, go ahead and start prepping to take those. You can do a quick pre-test Online, if you have that, you can go to Barnes and Nobles, Borders Books, you can get the study guides if you want. But if you're not going to take the SAT or the ACT, your college doesn't require it, they will probably require you take a placement test. And then any additional forms that you might want. Also, check with your school about health insurance because your colleges, a lot of colleges will require that you have health insurance. So if you're going to a school out of state, you're going to want to see what the requirements for that college are for the health insurance portion of it. And a lot of the colleges have health insurance that you can purchase. Build your college contact list. So for our youngest, at George Fox, he has his financial advisor, his curriculum advisor, and I want to say housing advisor. He has all three of those people saved in his phone, and it's all of their direct lines. So he knows exactly who he's talking to, with what his needs are, when he needs to get his classes, when he needs to look for scholarships, any additional scholarships he needs to be applying for, when those are coming out, all of it. So I would tell you guys, build your college contact list. Make sure you have those people in your phone because you will need them. You absolutely 100% will need them. Um, so yeah, financial aid advisor, your academic course counselor. There are some colleges that will have your academic courses built out for the duration of the time you're at the school. That way you know you graduate on time. And then there are colleges that don't do that. And so you want to sit with that course advisor as often as possible when those courses are coming, when your terms are done and you're like, okay, so what do I get to pick for the next term? What do I pick for next year? You want to make sure you're on top of that so you graduate on time. Okay. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Admissions contact. This is this is a good one to have in case something kind of goes sideways. It doesn't happen too often. The registrar, most of your registrars, they don't really want to talk to you. They want you online. And that's in a portal that you have. That's where you make your payments. That's where your transcripts go. But again, placement.com, you can get that transferred in. I will tell you with the register and your payments. So a lot of people don't understand this. They go, oh, I got to make a payment for my son or daughter's college tuition. And they put a debit card in there. You guys, you get charged a fee for putting a debit or credit card on there. If you have the money in your bank account, click down and it'll say put your routing and account number in there and go ahead and do that. And that doesn't charge you any extra fees. So just an FYI on that. And you can save that in the college portal. So um, lesson learned, just want you to know. So student count and billings, you've got tuition, balances, due dates, when all of that's for. The other thing with your scholarships, a lot of your scholarships will not come through it until after school starts. So, and your tuition is due by then. So there will be a form that says, I have a scholarship coming. This is how much it is. And you can sign and turn that into the school and they'll go ahead and give you credit for that. So make sure with your college that you have that filled out. And then housing orientation and contact. If you are a brand new student, a freshman, they want you at orientation. They'll walk you around the campus, they'll walk you through the dorms, they'll kind of walk you through how things go. If you're a returning student, most of the time you already know the ropes and they'll just let you go to your thing. Meal plans, you want to make sure that you're kind of checking in on that. Um, Mini fridges are typically okay if you're going to live in a dorm. So if you're going to do meal plan, my kids usually ended up like sneaking extra bananas or fruits or something at their meals and then coming in and filling their fridge for snacks later. Um, but yeah, so take a peek at that. Health insurance, we did kind of cover this already. Health insurance and school calendar terms, you're going to need health insurance with most of your colleges. So it can either, if you're an out-of-state college student, check and see if they take your health insurance because most of them will if you're a traveling, like if you're out-of-state student. But some of your colleges won't accept that and they will make you have your own health insurance through the college. So double check that. Sometimes they run about $2,500 for the full year. So again, double check that. The other thing too, know what your school is if it's a semester or trimester. So when you get scholarships, let's say you got a $10,000 scholarship, they're not going to give that all to you at one time. They're going to break it up. So 5,000 is going to go for one portion of the school year. If you have semesters, it's going to go for the first and 5,000 is going to go for the second. If you have a trimester, you're going to get like 33, 33, 33, 33, 33, 33. It's going to break it up into whatever semester or trimester that your college has. If you have an over an overabundance of funds, the the school has to zero its books out at every semester and trimester, and so they'll send you the overages back to your bank account. So make sure you set that aside and you don't spend it, and you can just turn around and pay it back the next semester when the money is due. Oh, here we are. So refund checks, don't spend it, don't spend it. So you're going to get all of your aid, your scholarships, all of your financial aid, everything is going to go straight to pay off this school tuition. And then you're like, oh, I'm like $300 over. Well, they're going to go ahead and give you the refund. Again, they have to zero out their books, so they're going to give you this refund back. And you can have it in a check form. They can go ahead and direct deposit it into your account. Put that into a separate savings account where you are not going to touch it because the next semester or trimester, they're going to say, hey, we need that money back. Okay, here's student links, parent links. I'm going to leave this up here for a little while so you guys can take a peek at this. Again, if you want this slideshow, just send me a quick blurb. I'll get to the next slide and I'll have my email address on it. And you can say, I really need these links. So these are huge, you guys. FAFSA deadlines, create a student aid account for both you as a parent and your teen for your FAFSA ID numbers. That's huge. And you have to get that. If you don't get the FAFSA ID, you're not going to get any scholarships. They won't give you scholarships because they don't know how much money you make or you can contribute. Um, and then commonapp.com. You guys, this is huge. I love this app. Or commonapp.org. But it's amazing. So you can do that. You can find the colleges you want, just upload them in there, and you only upload things one time instead of consistently. Parchment is another one, like I said. If you're doing Klamath Falls, I want to say if it's Klamath Falls Community College, I want to say that goes through a different, it's not Parchment, it's different. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Um, but you can give them a call and they'll tell you what it is. And then College Board, Big Future Scholarships, federal scholarships, NCAA Eligibility Center, all of this. And then again, as we went through this slideshow, there's plenty of scholarships for you guys to dive into. I didn't want to just get you on this as like, oh, this is what you need to do freshman through senior year and then drop you. Because once you get to that point, now it really gets busy your senior year. Essays, timeframes, due dates, letters of recommendations. So you needed to kind of have that prepped ahead of time. And then when you move into college, this is what this starts to look like. You're going to get portals. You're going to get username and passwords to fill out. You're going to have deadlines of when your housing deposit is supposed to be turned in. You're going to have deadlines of when you say, yes, I'm going to commit. Deadlines of if you're not going to commit, you want your housing funds back. You need to look at that. And then all of the extra paperwork you're going to turn in. And I will tell you guys that can be an overload. Just take it a step at a time. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. And here is my information. But hopefully, you guys, this next chapter for you and for your teen is going to be really amazing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I know as hard as it is on some parents to let their kids go to school, it's actually pretty amazing as to what they can do their first year of college and how they go ahead and tweak all that. I guess is a good word for it. But learning and growing is really fun to watch them do that. So, all right, you guys. Well, I look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully this helped out a little bit.